Monday. Red Polly. Dusty. Blue poncho.
Welcome back to week 4 of the Frisky Betting and Fantasy Podcast. It is Wednesday, September 25th, 2024. We are your hosts, Tyler Zajac, and of course, the legendary Willie P, the man with the bets. Guys, week 4, we have had a weird NFL season start. A lot of injuries, like usual. We always know that weeks 1 through 4 usually give us the most injuries, and then teams start to settle out. So, Willie P, weird couple of weeks, man. And as we get into it here, we're going to start with our moneyline spread bets. What do you got for us?
Well, just I think this stat alone summarizes the first 3 weeks of this NFL season and how bizarre it's been. Underdogs of 6+ points are now 12-1 against the spread and 8-5 straight up in the first 3 weeks of the year. That is outrageous, and I think we all saw it
12-1.
we all saw it the other night with the Commanders beating the Bengals outright. Obviously, the Bengals look much worse than I think many people expected coming into this year, especially with a healthy Joe Burrow. But yeah, if you like laying points on a big underdog, now's the time to do it because I'm sure it's gonna catch up pretty quick here.
Yeah, that is a crazy stat. Not a good time to be a bettor unless, like you said, you are one to bet your money on the underdogs and try to make a ton of money from it. It's great for those people right now, but like you said, it always catches up. And with that in mind, are you riding the trend or are they catching up here in week 4? What do you got for us?
So funny enough, there's only a couple teams. I think there's only 2 or 3 matchups this whole week 4 slate that meets that criteria. The first one is respectfully your bad New England Patriots, who are a 10-point dog on the road in the Bay Area against San Francisco 49ers, who are banged up as hell. And due to that and due to the trend, I'm taking the New England Patriots to cover 10 points this Sunday in the Bay Area.
I like to hear that you're taking the Patriots. Respectfully, would you be saying the New England Patriots are bad had they won that overtime game in week 2, which they lost by a field goal? If they're sitting at 2-1 right now, do you still think they're bad? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They're
I
fugazi.
think the problem with the Patriots right now is that I don't think they have a terrible team. Their defense is looking okay. I think it's an offensive line issue. If they can get that offensive line together and get some protection, then they have a chance to stay in games and thus win games. Now, do I think they're going to go to the playoffs? Probably not. Do I think that they're going to go far into the playoffs? Absolutely not. But I think that they could have a decent season for Mayo's first season if they can hold up in that offensive line.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. And obviously, Ramondre Stevenson, I was kind of expecting him to regress a little bit this year. And besides last week, he's looked very serviceable, very good. He's been honestly the bright spot of that offense. So, and I loved Ramondre 2 years ago when he kind of broke out, and it's good to see him playing good ball. And no love lot. I mean, I am a Broncos fan, so we've always kind of hated you guys, but mostly when you have Brady because we were always battling in the AFC championships. But yeah, I love the Patriots to cover. I mean, not saying they're going to win outright this weekend in San Francisco, but 10 points is a lot of points, and especially for a 49ers team that continues to add to their injury list every week. And now Brock Purdy is on that injury list, so I think he's going to play. But man, I mean, they're just we'll see what happens, but they're very banged up right now, and
Banged up.
To kind of. Again, 10 points is a lot of points, especially in the NFL. So, yeah, that's my first bet for the money line spread. My next one is the Commanders covering 3.5. Jaden Daniels is, we all saw it on Monday night, and if you didn't, that's a bummer because he had a rookie record, 91.6% completion percentage. That's just ridiculous. That dude hadn't thrown a touchdown pass in the first 2 weeks of the year, and everybody was like, I thought this guy had a pretty good arm, and then he showed it with that last touchdown pass to Scary Terry McLaurin. So I love what the Commanders are doing right now. Jane Daniels seems to be worth that high draft pick, and the way he's playing right now, he definitely should be a top 3 candidate for offensive rookie of the year.
That's going to be a close game. We'll get to it when we do our pick'ems later, but I'm leaning towards Arizona for that one. But I think it will be a close game. I do not think one team or the other is going to run away with that one. So,
No.
Yeah, I don't hate the bet. It's a little bit, I'd say, on the riskier side
Yeah.
than the friskier side, but not a bad bet.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, man, the way Cliff Kingsbury is running that offense and has come back from Thailand and seems to have figured it out. So, yeah, I don't know. But the thing that does worry, like you said, is it should be a close game, and especially because it's in Arizona. So the Cardinals love to play, obviously, in Glendale. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I like 3.5. I think it should be a last second kind of game winning field goal scenario, at least in my eyes for sure. This next one is fun. There's some good primetime games this week. Tomorrow, Cowboys, Giants, not the most enticing, but it is a divisional game, so anything can kind of happen. But Sunday Night Football, we got Bills going to the bank in Baltimore. I'm taking the Bills on the money line, and I know this is a very trendy, streaky kind of thing. The Bills are undefeated. But at plus 112, the way Josh Allen's playing right now, man, that just seems. I'm just seeing money signs everywhere. So obviously the Ravens bounced back last week against the Cowboys. The Ravens are good. Lamar Jackson is very good. That offense is good. We're doing another segment in a little bit with our missing Milk Carton players. You will quickly find out who one of mine is from that team. But the Ravens secondary is pretty bad, and I don't. I don't want to trust them, even though they are the home favorite, which makes sense. But yeah, give me the Bills at plus money. That just seems too good to be true, to be honest with you. So
Yeah, like you said, I worry a little bit just because Josh Allen and the Bills every year seem to have a couple games where they just can't miss, right? And I
yep,
think this past weekend was one of those games where
100%.
5 offensive possessions in the first half, 5 touchdowns, 5 different players, and then they just kept kind of rolling nice and easy from there. At some point that catches up to Josh Allen and he throws like 3 interceptions
Yep,
in a game and loses. So you just don't know what you're going to get with him sometimes. However, with that said, there's something to be said about what Josh Allen reported that, hey, it's great having guys who just don't care about touchdowns or
mm-hmm.
stats. They just want to win games. And he can
Yep,
disperse that ball to where, the guy's most open as opposed to maybe trying to sneak it in here and there. And have to make throws that maybe he generally wouldn't want to. So, yeah, I mean, maybe he feels a little bit more free, and that's going to help them. I'm interested to see how they progress through the year. For sure.
100%, 100%. Yeah, we'll see. I think that spread right now is at like 2, so it's kind of like a pick 'em at this point. That's why. But we'll see. I mean,
I
I
got
love
two
the
and a half.
Ravens.
I got Baltimore 2.5.
There you go. So
It's
yeah,
at Baltimore. So
yeah, no, it makes sense. And I love the Ravens. They made me a lot of money last year. They just seem a little off right now. Obviously, it's early, but I'm going to ride the hot hand in Josh Allen. And he loves playing on prime time, and I feel like that's when he elevates his game even more. So, yeah, give me the Bills on plus money for sure. And my final money line spread, we're following that criteria that I led the show with here. And I hate that I'm saying this because they're going to burn me, but we're going to do it because I believe in the data.
tell me this is Denver. Tell me this is a Denver bet.
Broncos plus 7.5 at the New York Jets.
Oh,
It
you had
burned
to see
me
it
so
coming.
hard last week, and I'm really glad we didn't do the podcast last week, just because I would have been all over the Buccaneers, and I was with my boys, and I was like, you know what, Denver's notorious for playing terrible in the early slate on the East Coast. And then what do? They play the best game they've played in arguably 2 years, and I just could not believe it. So, but no, I like the. Again, we're sticking with the trend. We're sticking with the data. I love it. I don't love that it's the Denver Broncos on the road, but our defense looked a lot better last week. Bo Nix is continuing to kind of do it all because he pretty much has to, especially because we have little to no running game. But The Jets are a weird team to me. I think 7 points is a lot. I don't think we lose by a field goal, but I think it'll be somewhere in that 5, kind of a weird zone. So yeah, I'm following the trend purely based on this one, and I'm gonna try and believe in my Denver Broncos one more week, and maybe I will be right this time.
I'm excited to see how this plays out because I think the Jets eat this weekend. And that's a little bit biased because I have the Jets defense on my fantasy team, but you know, they're starting to click a little bit more.
Yeah,
I think they're starting to figure out their rhythm. And I mean, despite what I think about Aaron Rodgers as just an individual, you can't deny the fact that he can throw a football. And I think
yeah.
that they have a great defense. I think, like you said, Bo Nix is still doing it, but you don't have a run game. You know, the Jets are going to be able to scheme for them. And so I don't often take the opposite on bets from you, but on this one, I'm going to. So we're going to see what happens. I'm excited. That's going to be a fun
8
game now.
points is
Now
a
I have
lot of
something riding
points.
on it. I can watch. I'm going to watch this game with something riding on it, and I'm going to be pumped to see what happens.
Yeah,
I
fuck
love
yeah.
it.
Well, and we'll see too. I have Garrett Wilson in a league. A lot of
You're
people
going
are
to be
very.
rooting for and against him at the same time.
Yeah, well, we'll see how it goes. That's going to be a matchup in and of itself with Garrett Wilson and Pat Surtain. That should be cinema all day. So we'll
See, that
see.
right there is what I like. Even if Pat Surtain takes him away, you look at like Mike Williams and some of the
Mike
other.
Williams hasn't done dick all year.
He,
Maybe Lazard.
he started having a couple catches though. Roger started looking his way a little bit. Lazard for sure.
Lazard,
So you take Patrick Surtain and Garrett Wilson out of the equation, and I think the Jets are still able to put up points. And when Mike Williams finds pay dirt this weekend, we're gonna have a great conversation next week when your face is in your hands and I'm making fun of you.
is in 3 games. Mike Williams has 4 receptions for 53 yards. 3 games. He's supposed to be wide receiver 2 on that team. What a joke.
Dude, he's coming back from an ACL. Give the guy a second to
He's
get
been
back
coming
into it,
back
brother.
from the hospital his whole career. Okay?
Okay, just keep those words
I
because
will.
when it
I
comes
will. I
when it
will.
comes next week, we're going to be
Denver
talking
plus
about
7 to
it.
wrap out the money line spread bets. It's getting heated here on this
I
Wednesday.
love it. I love it. Well, Mike Williams may be on Will's list here for our next segment.
He's not, but he should be. He should be for his whole career.
the the you can put him on next week if he doesn't crush your team this weekend.
I hope so. If Mike Williams scores 2+ touchdowns this week, Tyler, I'll buy a Mike Williams jersey. God
I
damn.
love that. I'm gonna hold you to that.
God damn.
All right, we're moving on to the next segment. The missing Milk Carton players of the week. As these are the guys that we all drafted in fantasy, and we're wondering where the hell are they? They are supposed to be top of their position, or at least flex options that you can use. And for some reason, we can't find them, Willie P. And are we worried that it's going to stay that way this year, or are they going to find a way to get him the ball? Start us off. Give us a missing Milk Carton player on
My
your
biggest
list.
one is I just to preface this, I was suspect on him all preseason when we were doing our fantasy stuff, and I still fell for it because one, I got him at a decent draft position and round, but Anthony Richardson, man, he has just been busting my balls all year. 49% completion percentage through 3 games, and you're an NFL starting quarterback. And the worst part is, most people like Schefter, Field Yates, all the ESPN crew, a lot of the Matthew Berry on NBC, whatever, they had him at like QB3. They're like, you know what? Breakout year. No, it's not. No, it is not.
No, it's
He
not.
is. And 583 and through 3 games, 583 yards, 3 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. That's like what I do on college football when I'm having a bad start to the year on college football 25. Something like that is just egregious. just egregious. And you're telling me he's supposed to be QB3 in this league? Get out of my ass. And,
It's not good. It's not good.
oh, man.
Do you think he will figure out a way to elevate himself
He's
up
going to
the
have to.
boards here, or should people start thinking about dropping him?
Oh, I don't think you should drop him by any means. I hope that you have a backup quarterback. And, of course, my backup in the league that I have him in is Justin Herbert. So now I'm kind of in a pickle here, and I have to play him because Herbert is obviously banged up. And, now that Jim Harbaugh is his head coach, they don't throw the ball anymore. But, yeah, I wouldn't drop him necessarily, but if you can, maybe go scoop like a Sam Darnold or someone like that, maybe, wouldn't hurt to have an option. But I mean, I hope he figures it out. He should. He has such a powerful arm and obviously phenomenal arm strength, but him just making poor decisions at the end of last game, throwing 2 picks in the fourth quarter, and honestly, his lack of college experience is starting to show. After last year, when he had a great start and then got hurt, and right before he got hurt, he said the NFL is easier than college. I would love to see him come back on his word now because I'm sure he would.
Yeah, that is it's a bad one. I agree with you. I have him as well on one of my fantasy teams, and he has been. It's not been great. If you want him to do well, I can sit him on my bench 1 week because we know as soon as I do that, he'll go off for 40 points somehow. But yeah, I couldn't agree more. Anthony Richardson, if you hear this, do something. Do something
Figure
to
it
help
out.
us out. Do
What's
something to
going
help
on?
us out.
What's going on? He's
Oh,
like,
well, and you may have seen this because I was so angry about it this weekend. My first missing Milk Carton player is Mark Andrews.
dude.
I mean, 0.00 points this weekend. 0.00. Through 3 games, my man has 6 receptions, 65 yards, no touchdowns. That right there is like a bad single game stat. And this is through 3 games. He's currently tight end 29. And he was 2 on the draft boards. 2 or
Pretty
3.
sure. Yeah.
2 or
Top
3
5.
probably.
Top
Probably
4.
3 or 4, I should say,
Yeah.
because you had Laporta, Kelsey, probably both above him. But Mark Andrews, what are we doing? And it's not like, if Derrick Henry wasn't doing well and Lamar Jackson was taking his, a lot of his runs away or touchdowns away, it makes sense. But we really have no excuse for Andrews. We know how he fits into that offense. He's been there forever. The only excuse is he's getting older, and that may be what it is. And if that's the case, we better start thinking about some other tight ends moving forward here because I'm a little worried that he's not going to start contributing, or it's going to be 2-3 games this season and you're not going to know which ones. And
Yeah.
so, to play him in fantasy is going to be tough. So Mark Andrews, if you hear this, can we get some production, please?
Something. Give me a reason because I'm about to hit the drop button on him. I mean, it is, man, it is just
I don't even know if anyone will take him in a trade at this point.
There's no way. If you have half a brain, you would not even consider taking him for any player. Like it is, and I get Likely's been doing well, but I mean, we all, it's just like, what is going on? And I have some buddies that are Ravens fans, and they're like, well, he's still coming back from that injury. I was like, that's not an excuse anymore. That's just that doesn't
He's still
apply.
blocking and doing everything though, so I think that
that's
injury
I'm like,
was,
no, he is 100% healthy. Stop, just stop.
he had the car accident in the preseason, and they said he didn't get injured in it though. So
Maybe they're
unless they're
lying.
lying,
Hey, so not Kyle Shanahan withheld information from us week 1, and that sold me on a nice 3-leg parlay. So I get it. There's a lot of collusion in the NFL.
Kyle Shanahan, CMC, I heard might be out for another 4 to 6 weeks, and if that's the case, I am going to be pissed off. I don't know if it's true. I don't have it. I'm not 100% with that. Whoever, I saw that from. It wasn't like a Schefter or someone. So I don't know if I can go by that yet. I don't know if I
Holy
trust the
shit,
source. So we're gonna stay on it. We're gonna see what happens. But
dude!
if that's the
If
case, I'm
that
gonna be
happens,
pissed.
I'm never taking the guy on the Madden coverage. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. That thing is real as hell, dude. And people have been talking about it for years, but oh man,
I will not be pleased. We'll
oh
see what
man,
happens. I'm waiting to see it from Rappaport or Schefter
yeah,
or
no,
one of the
for
real
sure. But
insiders before
yeah, we'll see
I believe
Sonya
it.
Bell,
I won't
sure,
I won't trust myself to believe it until then.
dude.
So
Oh man, what a bummer. Well, speaking of banged up 49ers, Brandon Ayuk is not banged up and should be eating in this offense. But my God, where has he been, Tyler? Oh, is he still holding out for a contract? No, he got that contract. And it shows that he did not participate in the preseason
dude,
because this
hands
man,
of stone.
hands of stone, but pockets full of gold. And he's running back to his house every night, just laughing his little ass off. He has to be because 4 years, 120 million with 76 million guaranteed, and you're playing like this, and you're supposed to be arguably wide receiver one on that team, especially since Debo is not there right now. Juwan Jennings looks like wide receiver one on that team, and Juwan Jennings does not make nearly that much money. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns last week.
And he's on my fantasy team too, so that saved me from the Anthony Richardson issue.
11 receptions for 110 yards. Excuse me, 119 yards, no touchdowns. He's averaging 10.8 a catch. Last year, he averaged nearly 18 yards a catch. That is a joke. And Peyton Manning said it week one on the Manning cast. He said, "This is why you sign your contract. This is why you go to training camp." Because he missed
Need
a
reps. Need reps.
reps, man. And we talked about it as well in the podcast a couple weeks ago. But granted, the catch that he missed week one was not a routine, it's not like it hit him in the hands and he dropped it. He had to dive to make the play. But
It's a play
at
he
least,
makes normally.
yeah, he should make that play for sure.
It's a play that someone you pay that much money should make.
Yes, 100%. And we talked about this yesterday a little bit. I mean, granted, there have been some injuries, yada, 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 but a lot of these wide receivers that have gotten all this money this past offseason are not performing. And you made the argument that the only one that has is Justin Jefferson, which is, if I'm going to be blunt, I did not think Sam Darnold was going to keep Justin Jefferson doing what he does best. I think Justin Jefferson would have made him better, but Sam Darnold has been playing out of his mind, and he is the one running the Milk Carton company for these people. The way he has been playing the first 3 weeks of the season, it is astonishing. But besides the point, yeah, Brandon Ayuk, I don't.
What are you, Ayuk?
I'll be honest. When I took him in the league, I was a little worried. It's kind of another situational thing, and I was like, you know what, we'll kind of take the gamble. And I am broke right now.
I will say the good thing about Ayuk that I see, if we're going to take a positive road here, is that, like you said, like Manning said, reps, right?
Yeah.
So through 3 games, 3 practices, now he's gotten some of those reps that he missed in camp. So you would hope that now he'll start maybe making himself a little bit more known, right? Getting into the feel of it, getting into that offense again. And with those guys still out this week, it's another chance for him to get a larger target share. And then even when they come back, he'll hopefully be in that. And that could be another. I mean, we didn't talk about that, but that's another big piece of it, right? Ayuk's used to being the third guy in the progressions behind CMC and Debo, right? Now all eyes on him, and we're seeing what's going on, right? So not only did he not get the reps in the offseason, but he's kind of taken a whole new role in that offense where he's probably getting the top corners and those guys covering him. And to your point, if you get paid, if you get that bag, you better be able to handle it. But I think he's seeing that maybe he didn't. I don't want to say didn't deserve all that money, but he's struggling a little bit. So I think the good news is, though, that when those guys start coming back, and now that he has the reps, I think we'll see him in moving forward a little bit more, hopefully.
He is the one I feel the most optimistic about in terms of the players that we have talked about so far. Like everything you said, he's going to get reps. Guys are going to come back. When Debo comes back, which is hopefully this week because I have him in 2 leagues, but
I don't think he'll come
I don't
back
think
this
it's
week.
going to happen. That's me being very optimistic for Debo Samuel. But anyway, yes, like everything you said, I think his life will get easier when he is no longer has the spotlight on him. But you would think when you hold out for that long and cause all that noise to just take the initial contract that they offered you at the beginning of the whole dilemma, that you would be able to handle the spotlight. And I think, like you said, he is having a rude awakening to what it is like to be covered by the best guys that play defensive back in the NFL.
Yep. Well, Ayuk, if you hear this, start catching the ball.
Just figure it out. Just
Figure it out.
man. Just figure it out.
We move to missing Milk Carton player number 4, and that is Travis Kelce. We're sticking with the tight ends. What is going on? Travis Kelce, you are tight end number 1. We all knew it. Some people may have had Laporta above you because of your age, but you were sitting at 8 receptions for 69 yards and 0 touchdowns. You and Mark Andrews together look horrible. And now Patrick Mahomes came out this past week, said, hey, we're drawing up plays for him, but they're putting 3 guys on him and making us beat him other ways with Rashee Rice and some of our other weapons, Xavier Worthy,
Juju Smith-Schuster.
But with that said, Travis Kelce has been getting double teamed and locked onto for a long time in his career, and he was still catching balls. So this year seems a little bit different. And I'm not. I guarantee you he's going to have a game that he goes for like 180 yards or something. You know it's coming.
Or he's just going to have or a classic red zone stat line where he has 45 yards, but 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
6 catches. And it's just
coming.
Yeah.
Something's coming. But through 3 games, we haven't seen him. I don't want to say the Taylor Swift effect, but here we are.
I think she's a witch. She's a witch. He's going to break up with her. She knows it, and her spells are wearing off because she knows she's about to be. I swear to God, she's a witch. That's the only logical answer here.
3 games, and we have a bad stat line. So Travis Kelce, I don't want you to figure it out. I'm going to be honest. Don't figure it out because I don't want the Chiefs to keep winning. So don't figure it out and stay on the milk carton. I would love that. So if you could just do that for us, that'd be great.
Quick side note with the Chiefs, and everybody's always complained about it, and I know this could seem skewed because I'm a Broncos fan, but it seems like this year too, at least early, the calls they've been getting and not been getting, I'm like, man, you hear that? Phone's ringing. Oh, it's Vegas. It's crazy, man.
Dude,
and that's
it's not even that the calls from the refs, which I've seen the breakdowns both ways, and how when you look at how many passes he throws compared to other quarterbacks, there's going to be more overturned interceptions. I saw that stat and stuff, but when you talk about Vegas, when Patrick Mahomes is up on rushing yards and then takes 6 knees to end the game or whatever it was, and in a loss of 13 yards to put them 1.5 yards under the rushing yards needed. What's going on there?
What's going on there? That's that especially. You told me that yesterday, and I was
when Justin Jefferson needs 79.5 yards and gets 81 in the first half, and then not a yard more after that. Not a yard more.
What's that smell? Oh, it's something fishy. PU. Yeah, no, I don't know how they do it.
Listen, I'm not saying anyone's cheating. I'm just saying seems a little bit
weird.
odd. A little bit fishy.
It's fishy for sure. We might have to
But
bring that into the show. A little like 3 like fishy
yeah, what
lines of
was
the week.
fishy this week?
Yeah, just quick little.
The fishing line.
Yeah. Yeah, either way. Yeah,
I
no.
love
And
it.
the funny thing enough is Travis Kelce was my third missing milk carton player because, man, he is just, I mean, everybody's feeling it that took him. And maybe like Mark Andrews, his age is final. Father time is undefeated, as we know. And maybe he's finally caught on to old Kelsey.
They said that about Brady every single year too.
They
So
did,
eventually you're going to be right.
eventually. I mean, he
Eventually
hasn't
you
even
end up being right.
after a poor week one showing by many people's standard. Brady has looked a lot better, and I think like with Brandon Ayuk and any person in life, the more you do something, you will get better at it. And
Oh yes,
already Brady
his
is settling
announcing.
into that broadcast booth pretty well.
Yep, he's a student of the game, so I had no doubt that he'd figure it out. Now we're gonna move on here to our predicted high performers for week 4. But just before we do, one little extra missing milk carton player this week. I know, Will, that you threw out there was Christian Watson, my man. 5 receptions, 80 yards, 1 touchdown over 3 games. Currently wide receiver 72. Uh, this one hurts a little bit just because we talked him up a lot preseason. He had gone to Wisconsin, got his whole hamstring injury stuff figured out, which, to our credit, no injury yet. So that's going well. But he just hasn't been looked at as much / hasn't come down with the ball as much. So I still have faith that they're gonna, when Love comes back, we'll see a little bit more of him too with their connection. So I'm not worried about it. If you have Christian Watson on your team, I think he's still a good pickup. I think he's still gonna make a splash here coming up. But right now, where are you, Christian Watson?
Yeah, he's.
Where are you? All right, we move on to our predicted high performers week 4. Here's some players we think will get you some points, maybe in that flex position or even in a wide receiver 2, running back 1 or 2, QB 1, based on matchups and whatever other trends we could find. First and foremost, Willie P, give me a Dunza for the Bears. Last week, he had 6 receptions, 112 yards, 1 touchdown. I think he's starting to get his rapport with the man, Caleb Williams. If Keenan Allen against is out again this week, I think he's going to have some good production against the Rams. The Rams currently average 248.7 yards per game to quarterbacks on average. Their pass defense is, to put it nicely, atrocious. So I think that that's going to open up for Roma Dunza. I think he is going to have a chance to put up possibly even another 100+ yard game here. And even if not, I think he can find some pay dirt. So I like him this week for my high performer. I think he's a good flex option if you need one.
I like Adinza. I'm a little surprised purely just because it's a Bears wide receiver, and Caleb Williams has shown me no reason why he should be the number 1 overall pick right now. Yes, it's very early. Yes, rookie quarterbacks struggle, but he just you can tell Caleb Williams is a deer in the headlights right now. But
I agree. And despite that, though, he still had 112 yards last
that's
game.
true.
So I think we have a chance with the Rams defense here.
For sure. And the Rams are very banged up, but as we saw what they did last week, they came back and beat the 49ers thanks to Sean McVay. And I don't know what he said in that locker room, but going into the fourth quarter, but he did something. And I don't know why I would be terrified of Sean McVay yelling at me because I think we're the same height. But he would scare the crap out of me, and I would play so much better just because he'd come in with that little faux hawk
I
and
would play
start
so much better.
screaming.
I love it. I love
Anyway,
it. Who
my
do you
pick,
got?
I really I like J.K. Dobbins this week, especially with Justin Herbert hurt. Obviously, I hope Herbert plays because it will take some pressure off of the run game for the Chargers. They're playing the Chiefs. The Chiefs allow only the 13th most rushing yards in the NFL, 113.7, so about 114 yards per game. The reason why I like Dobbins is just the pure volume. Jim Harbaugh loves to run the ball. He's brought that from Michigan. He's had a great first 2 weeks. Last week he regressed a little bit against a very good Steelers defense, which I think we all could have seen coming. And I think most people did. But I love Dobbins' volume purely based on that, as well as if Herbert's not going to play, they're going to have to run the ball more because I think their backup quarterback is so Easton Stick. I'm pretty sure. So I love Dobbins. Obviously Harbaugh does as well. I think purely based off the volume standpoint, he's going to be a good play.
Yeah.
He should at least, and even on a bad day, I think for J.K. Dobbins in this offense, he's going to get you at least 10 points, and you can't really ask for more than that. Granted, he has been looking more like a running back one, low, high end two, but I like Dobbins this week, even though they're playing a good Chiefs defense.
Yeah, the Chiefs defense definitely worries me a little bit just because of that front line. But I mean, like you said, Harbaugh, I mean, he knows what he's doing in the run game. So there's definitely a chance with the other injuries that they have right now on that offense that he has a great breakout game and can provide a lot of upside. So yeah, I like the pick. My number 2, give me T. Higgins. We talked about Cincinnati. They are on the struggle bus currently. But with that comes the hunger for a win. And I think that being an 0-3 start and going against Carolina, they not only are going to be going for a win, they're going to be going to prove a point to the rest of the NFL and their fans that we could still put up points. And listen, T. Higgins, hamstring injury for much of the first part of this year. We put out a stat on the Predictor Social, if you saw it, that first game back on average, wide receivers drop about 15 yards receiving their first game back from a hamstring injury. Last week was his first game back. Last year, he averaged 54.7 yards per game. Week 3, his first game back from a hamstring injury, he had 39 yards. That is 15 reception yards less
What do you know?
than his average. What do you know? The trends of hamstring injuries in wide receivers. So the next trend is that their second game back, they're usually about pre-injury level or close to, which means that I think he'll be back. And with Carolina going to have to definitely focus on Jamar Chase since he put up 2 touchdowns last week and finally looks like he's back. That'll open it up a little bit more for Higgins. Carolina's defense averages 110 QBR against the quarterbacks that they play so far this season and 201 yards per game passing. I think Burrow will exceed that. And I think T. Higgins will be a beneficiary of it. So give me T. Higgins this week as a top performer in week 4.
I only was a little upset when you said T. Higgins at first because I had him on our Monday night game for one of my player props to get into the end zone because I was like, oh, Jamar Chase is going to have a blanket around him all game. And Jamar Chase ended up catching 2 touchdowns. So, yes, I should have looked at our data more and realized that obviously he is coming back from a hamstring, like you said. And thankfully we didn't take the receiving props the receiving yard prop because I'm sure that did not hit given everything that you just said. But I really thought he was going to get in the end zone. He did.
In your defense, I think he had a throw to the end zone that
at
hit
least
off
2. No,
the
he
defender's helmet, and he honestly probably should have come down with it. It was one that he looked higher than the defender, but it kind of went through hit the helmet and bounced off.
No,
if I
he had a
remember
couple. They
correctly.
gave him a couple one-on-one looks. Joe Burrow didn't give him a couple good balls. He had one where he was like he had to catch one left-handed, falling back. Whatever. That's gambling. That's how it goes. But yeah, I like T Higgins. We know what he can do. I just hope he doesn't re-aggravate that hamstring by any means,
Yeah.
because we do know that obviously can linger. But he seems good to go, so I love it. My biggest one is I kind of hate that I'm saying this because it's just like he's just been such a wagon, but I have him on my team and I love it. It's RB1, Saquon
RB1.
Barkley. That dude,
Saquon.
that dude has just been a monster, and I'm looking at him right now. This is half PPR, but 32 points, 15.6, 31 again. His TD prop, as a side note, has started more after week one to look like Christian McCaffrey's last year at around the minus 200 mark. And I'm getting ready to start betting him at 2+ touchdowns a game because he just loves to get in the end zone. So
Everyone said, oh, you go back, look at the biggest busts. Oh, it's going to be Saquon Barkley this year. He's going to be a bust. We came on the show, and what did we say? We said the tush push is a thing of the past with
gone,
Jason Kelsey
gone,
gone and Hurts with his injuries last year. It's not worth it. Saquon Barkley is going to eat this year, and he has eaten, sir.
monster, absolute monster. They play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on the road this week, so which will be interesting because it's a little, rematch from the NFC division last year, where obviously the Bucks came
The
in.
Bucks are weird. I don't know.
Bucks are weird.
They're great, and then they're terrible.
Well, this is why again Saquon should have another 30-point game this week. The Bucks have the 27th best, or they're ranked 27 out of 32 in
27th
rushing
worst.
defense. They're so worse. Yes, they're terrible. Yeah, Saquon's going to go crazy, and he should. And they need him to because the Eagles are another weird team. Jalen Hurts shows flashes where of old Jalen Hurts when they went on that Super Bowl run a couple years ago, and then he throws an interception, and it's like,
Yeah, he looks
what
odd
is
this year.
what is going on? He had that long streak. I think it was like might have been like 18 games or something where he didn't have a turnover, and then halfway through the year last year, he just threw one, and now he's like addicted, and it's weird, and I just don't get it. And I think Jalen Hurts will figure it out. I think he has to because if he doesn't, Nick Sirianni is going to get fired, and I think Sirianni knows that as well. And that's why they love to talk about their relationship together because I think we all know it's not very good. But anyway, so I love Saquon this week. I think I love him every week, and that's why I kind of hate that I'm saying that because I feel like it's a little obvious. But when I saw that Tampa Bay's rush defense was that bad, I was like, man, this is just I don't know why you wouldn't start him anyway, but if must start is he's the definition of must start.
He could be a game changer this week with the amount of points that he
100%.
should get, especially, and I'll add that Devontae Smith is going through concussion protocol right now, so we don't know if they'll have him this week. We have to see how he progresses. And A.J. Brown has that hamstring injury, and they have a bye week, week 5, I believe, the Eagles. So it doesn't make sense really to bring back A.J. Brown this week when you have a bye week the following. You might as well give him that full amount of rest, then bring him back, especially with hamstrings, because like we just said with T. Higgins, and like you said, re-injury risk is high in those. So makes more sense to just keep him out. So they could potentially be without their top 2 wide receivers, which means Saquon is going to be taking an even bigger part of that team this weekend. So I like it. I mean, yeah, I think I agree with you that I don't think anyone was taking him out of their lineup.
Yeah,
But
if you're going
I
to play
do
him a
think
week, this is it.
that it's a he could be a game changer. I mean, he could be a like win your game for you by himself type deal. I love it. My last one in my high performers for week 4 is actually in a game you mentioned earlier, a little Washington, Arizona game.
Okay.
And Jaden Daniels showed his passing ability last week. I think that Kyler Murray is going to be a high performer this week, and I'll tell you why. Kyler Murray is playing the Commanders, who are currently 31 of 32 in pass defense average yards allowed per game with 255.7 yards per game, and they have given up 9 touchdowns in the pass game already this season. They are 17th in their rush defense, giving up 121.7 yards per game and only 2 TDs there. But 31 out of 32 in pass defense, and then 17 out of 32, so pretty mid in their rush defense. Give me the dual threat QB who also has Marvin Harrison to throw the ball to downfield, who has shown that he is able to do it in the NFL just like he was in college so far. He has had some explosive plays, to say the least. And I think, Murray with James Conner and a couple of the other weapons he has at his disposal, I think he will be able to put up some big points. We know that he can extend plays. We know that he has been a high performer in games here and there in fantasy. And I think this will be one this week. Give me Kyler Murray.
I like Kyler as well. I've been kind of waiting for him to have another big game. A lot of people were very high on him to start the season. I was a little weary about it, but yeah, so far, I mean, yeah, I agree with everything you say. I think
it's just a perfect storm for him to do well.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. No, yeah, that's all I got for that. I mean,
if he doesn't do well, it's on him.
yeah. There's nothing else that I need to say for that. Everything I agree with 100%. No question.
Who is your last high performer for week 4?
I'll be honest, I only did 2. Well, I
right.
was gonna do Sam Darnold, but then I would quickly circle back because the Packers have the most interceptions in the league this year. He is banged up, and I think from what I read, they're one of the top defenses in the NFL in terms of pass defense. So
you got the snake Jair Alexander out there roaming around.
He is a snake, dude. And I love that he wears a grill. He's such a savage. What did they say here? He'll face a Packers defense that ranks 9th in passing yards allowed, but also leads the league with 7 interceptions. So there you go. Not 9 interceptions, 7, but yes. So I think Sam Darnold, it's kind of reverse, I guess. I initially was like, let's keep the Sam Darnold train going. But then he got hurt. And now it's kind of like the opposite of top performer. He might finally see some regression, especially against a good Packers defense. We will see. So
we might have him on the Milk Carton next week.
Maybe we'll see. I know. Well, because everybody's been glazing him on every major media outlet, and now we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I don't want to see him. Never want to see anybody do bad. But I think this could be kind of the opposite. We could see some regression. So be careful.
They did the same thing with Kirk Cousins over there in Minnesota. At some point, you wonder if maybe it's just Justin Jefferson.
Definitely freaking helps. That's for sure.
I love it. Well, I think we might, and we're going to get into our pick'ems here. I think we might see Sam Darnold come back to earth a little bit this week, but we will see. I think I've told you when I was at Louisville as an athletic trainer, Jair Alexander was there, and he was a freshman at the time, and he was one of our only starting freshmen. And he was a beast, and he's hilarious and just like a great person too, which made it that much better. Like he was just a good dude. But all right, let's move into week 4 pick'ems. You guys know how it goes. Me and Will, we go down the list. We give you who we think is going to win each game, and then we make fun of each other next week when we have disparities. Whoever gets to win gets the bragging rights. So let's start us off with Thursday night football. Dallas versus New York in New York, or should I say New Jersey, at MetLife. Willie P.
Cowboys. We don't have to talk about this. Cowboys.
Gotta take the Cowboys.
Fred's
Cowboys haven't been playing well,
but fuck the Giants. Sorry, but they're ass. Daniel Jones is a bum.
Dallas been struggling. Their run game has been struggling, but I think they're going to.
They're going to bounce back. They're pissed from
If
last
there's a game they're going to bounce back against, it's the New York Giants.
on prime time. I already see Jerry Jones just grinning ear to ear in that visitor suite. He's going to be loving it.
I do love this week that we are finally getting into a lot of divisional games.
Me too.
And we move to New Orleans at Atlanta. Atlanta has been staying in with a lot of teams. New Orleans outscored their opponents the first, 2 games. It was like 92-19 or something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But then showed that they were human last week and couldn't really put points on the board very well. So who do you got?
Falcons.
I also have the Falcons.
I like the Falcons at home.
Yeah, I like that they're at home. I mean, that was my biggest thing when I was looking at it. Is like they're at home. They got their fans behind them. They've been able to stick with a lot of these high-powered teams. To be honest, they've looked good. I still think that they paid Kirk Cousins way too much money. But hey, you know what?
That's how it goes.
We move to the Rams at Chicago. Though I took Romeo Aduns to have a game, I took the Rams to win.
Oh, no shit. I thought you were going to say the Bears. I took the Rams as well. I
still can't trust Caleb Williams, dude. I can trust him to get the ball to a wide receiver for a good fantasy game. I cannot trust him to win a game.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And we saw it last week. I said it earlier in the show. We saw it last week with the Rams. Sean McVay completely changed on offense, changed the game plan, changed the scheme, everything, and figured it out. And that's why he's a good coach. That's why he's won a Super Bowl. They don't have their top 2 wide receivers. And who knows when we're getting back. And at least with Puka, we got a couple more weeks, which breaks my heart. But Kyron Williams is front flipping into the end zone. I said it. I'll own up to it. I said it earlier this year. I thought he was going to regress a little bit. He is not, and I'm glad because I love Kyron Williams. He's a dog.
In that to take it off us a little bit, when you don't have your 2 top wide receivers,
obviously, yes,
you're going to get a lot more. You're going to see the ball a lot more. Even if you're Kyron Williams, it still goes up if you're missing the 2 top wide receivers.
Either way,
but yeah, to your point, at the end of the day, fantasy points are fantasy points. Betting is betting.
Doing very well. Yes, I'm with you though. F the Bears. I'm believe it when I see a guy, especially with that freaking poverty franchise. Give me the Rams.
Give me the Rams. All right. We move on to a game we just discussed, Minnesota, Green Bay. Like I said, and like you said, I think that we see that Sam Darnold is human. I think this is a divisional game. They don't like each other. We know that. Give me Green Bay.
Yeah, Green Bay. And they're only a 2.5 point favorite, which is crazy. And
we see Love back?
I'm going to be touching this line because it's a divisional. But if Sam Darnold doesn't play, and you do want to bet on this game, I'd take Green Bay spread right now because the moment when they do list him as out, if they do, that line's going to jump to 4.5.
Well, and if Love is questionable probably right now,
there's no way he plays.
If he, I don't know. They were talking about he was warming up last week. I mean, I knew he wouldn't play last week, but I could see him playing. I could see Love playing this week.
Really? Malik Willis is a gunslinger.
I'm not saying he's not, but if you're gonna have,
just kidding. I just feel like with that, like you just pay him all that money, like just don't.
But he's been okay, and honestly, MCLs and quarterbacks, by the data, they come back within 1 to 2 games usually, and so because they're taking a couple sacks here and there and maybe trying to get out of pressure, but it's not like a running back. You know what I mean? So,
no, for sure. Yeah. I mean, you would know more than I do.
We could see him back.
I'm thinking about that paycheck. I'm just like, man, you signed your life away. Let's not ruin it. You know what I mean? But
yeah, we'll see.
The Packers are going to beat the Vikings this weekend. I feel good about that one.
Either way, you should take the line now because if Love does play and Sam Darnold doesn't, that line's going to get real big, real fast. We moved to Colts Pittsburgh. This is an interesting one. So we talked about Anthony Richardson, who has played like crap. Pittsburgh, who's 3-0, Is it a true 3-0? Is it a little bit of a this are they getting lucky here and there? Who do you got?
Steelers. Mike
Taking the
Tomlin loves to
Steelers.
win ugly. He's going to win ugly again in Indianapolis this weekend. That defense is so good. TJ Watt should already have the defensive player, the defensive MVP. I mean, he is a man possessed. And honestly, Justin Fields, it's not like he's going for 300 a game with 3 touchdowns, but he's looked very serviceable, very game manager, doing everything he needs to, and you don't have to do a lot when you have a defense like that backing you up. So I like the Steelers. I'm again I've seen it early from Richardson. I think he'll turn it around, but playing a Steelers defense like this is not ringing any bells for me in terms of him bouncing back from this poor start.
Yeah. Justin Fields, I feel like, was done real dirty in Chicago, and I think he's showing them exactly what they're missing out on. And he's playing well. I think, Russell Wilson, his injury to start may have benched him for good, to be honest. Not what he wanted to see, because I don't think you can turn away from Fields now, after starting 3-0. But with that being said, give me the Colts.
All right, there's the first one.
Give me the Colts. I agree with everything you said. That defense is unbelievable. But I think the Colts find a way this week. Anthony Richardson has to be just kicking himself all week. He knows he's not playing well. I think Josh Downs, he played finally last week, but it was his first game back, I believe. So if that's right, I don't know that you could fact check that one for me. But I think he's going to get back after his injury that he had this preseason. He'll start playing better, which will give them another weapon. And so I'm going to take the Colts on this one.
Right,
we got to switch it up a little bit between the two of us. Give me the Colts. Next game, your boys, the Denver Broncos.
Jets.
Okay.
Broncos are going to cover the Jets.
Too.
Jets. Don't need to talk about it. We talked about it earlier, but I think the Broncos can cover the points, but Jets all day. If the Broncos win 2 weeks in a row, I'll jump off a bridge of happiness. I just don't believe it. I just don't.
Man.
And the Jets.
Well, that was quick. Defense. That was a quick one.
Yeah.
I am also taking the Jets. Philly, Tampa.
Man.
The problem is Tampa, right? You don't know how they're going to come out.
That's what I mean.
Is Baker Mayfield going to play out of his mind, or is he going to be terrible?
I don't like the Eagles either, but I took the Eagles.
I took the Eagles too.
I took the Eagles too, mostly because the Bucs just absolutely burned me so bad last week, and I'm still a little salty about it. So
Tampa's home. Tampa's away at home. I think Brady's calling that game, right?
Tampa's at home, but they're dogs, which is crazy. At least from what I saw yesterday, they were 3-point dogs, and I'm like, or 2-point dogs, which is crazy to
me. Yeah, Philly. I got Philly at under 2.5. So yeah.
It's crazy.
Tampa's home, and Brady's first time back in Tampa. He'll be calling the
calling
game.
That game. Oh, there you go.
Yep. So, but I think he's going to be a little upset when Philly beats him.
Yeah.
Cincinnati, Carolina. We talked about this. I'm taking Cincy.
Yeah.
Cincy. Yeah. Houston, Jacksonville. This is an interesting one.
No-brainer.
You think it's a no-brainer? I think it's interesting.
Jags suck ass. They're so bad. Trevor
What's
Lawrence.
That?
I said Jags suck ass. They're so bad. Trevor Lawrence robbed the Jags of all that money, and he looks atrocious.
So we're not different. I took Houston too, but I do think it's going to be much closer than people think. The line is Houston by 7. They're at home, but after how they've been playing, dude, I saw Christian. What I liked was Christian Kirk got a little bit more into the game this past weekend. They started getting him involved. Etienne's still doing his thing. I think they're going to tweak and figure a few things out. I think it'll be close. I took Houston, but I don't think it's going to be as big of a gap as people
seems
think.
A lot for a divisional game for sure. And the Jags are desperate. They're 0-3, so they don't have.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes that click, that turns on a light switch. So we'll see what happens. Arizona, Washington.
I'm taking the commies all day Commanders.
I'm
I love
taking
Jalen
Zona.
Hurts.
I'm
There you go.
taking
There's our
Zona.
second.
Give me Kyler Murray. Like I said, I think he's going to have a big game. I think he's going to take out the win. San Fran, New England.
49ers.
I got San Fran as well. I actually, like I told you earlier, think it's going to be closer. What's the spread? 10? 9.5. I got
I'm
9.5.
saying hammer it,
You said
dude.
10
10
earlier.
points is so many. So
But
many points.
yeah, I think New England could even surprise and take a win, to be honest, with the amount of injuries that the 49ers have.
Yeah.
It's possible. I will not take that from Gerard Mayo. I think he could pull out a win somehow. But I'm going to take the 49ers just because they're at home. Cleveland, Las Vegas. Give me the Browns. Oh, yeah.
I'm
You heard
taking
me,
the
right?
Raiders. That's crazy.
Give me the Browns.
I do not trust Deshaun Watson. That dude scares the crap out of me, and he should be in jail.
Right.
But that's besides the point. But
it is a very close. It is Vegas by one.
Yeah, it's a pick
because they are at
yeah,
home. But the only thing that worries me with my pick is Amari Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
He's questionable right now. If he doesn't play, then I think the Raiders take it. But if he plays, I'll take Cleveland.
Gardner Minshew has been pretty up and down. Zamir White has been a no-show, but I just think the Raiders, especially after last week when Antonio Pierce said they made
Antonio Pierce may
drop
75 on the Browns, but
watch. Antonio Pierce is going to come out with the craziest game plan you've ever seen, and they're just going to.
Antonio Pierce might come out in pads, bro.
He might. He fucking might. So you want to make a business decision? I will. I'll take your fucking job. That's what he's going to say.
Yeah, dude. I'm a little. The more we talk about it, the more I lean toward the Raiders. But I picked Cleveland originally. I'm gonna stick with Cleveland.
That dude too seems like the nicest guy, but we saw him when he was pissed, and I was like, dude, he's like one of those people that gets pissed, but you don't know because he's just quiet, and then all of a sudden he'll just rip you a new one. Like you can tell, like, oh man. Oh,
dude, that's a linebacker in the NFL, right? I mean, they literally flip on a light switch.
Murder.
It is nice guy to time to kill. So, and that's why a lot of them, when you look at it, become NFL coaches. Gerard Mayo was a linebacker, right?
Yep.
I mean, so you got, and there's a few of them out there. So, Kansas City Chargers.
Jeez.
I mean, I hate that I have to say it, but yeah.
Especially with Herbert being banged up.
Buffalo Ravens.
I mean,
Buffalo. I rode the trend of them.
I'm going to stick with one of my bets from the very beginning of the show. I'm not going to flip flop on you. I'm going with Buffalo as well.
I honestly hope I'm wrong on this one. To be, as a Patriots fan, and just in general, I like Baltimore. I like Lamar Jackson. Again, Louisville guy. Derrick Henry, Bama guy.
Yeah.
I love Baltimore's team. So I hope they win. So I hope I'm wrong, but I took Buffalo.
Yeah.
Tennessee, Miami.
Also, why 2 weeks in a row, real quick? Why do we have 2 Monday night games again?
I don't know. I hate it.
I don't like it either. It's weird. I don't like.
No,
put another one in the afternoon slate. Like, why don't we?
It's got to be broadcasting thing. That's all I could think of.
This one is a weird game, Titans Dolphins, because it's 2 terrible fucking quarterbacks.
Well, we don't even know if it might be Dolphins' 3rd string quarterback. Skylar Thompson has a rib injury, so depending on whether he plays or not is a whole.
I want to take Will Levis, man.
I took the Titans. I had to. I could not. I mean, I don't know if you saw the video of the Dolphins wide receivers. They look. I mean, Beckham, Waddle, and Hill throwing the ball back and forth, and I mean they're just making they have no gloves on. Well, Tyreek did, but the other guys no gloves on. They're catching it one-handed, throwing the ball 40+ yards to each other. Someone was like, "No quarterback, no problem. We'll just put one of our wide receivers back there and do a little wildcat." But
I went with the Titans as well. But man, Will Levis is just abysmal.
Yeah, it's not good. We'll see what happens. He's become meme central. But last game, I think we're going to agree on probably. But Detroit, Seattle. Detroit at home. Yeah, it's hard to take Seattle. Again, Seattle has, you don't know what Seattle's going to bring, and that's the problem with picking them is they, when DK Metcalf is on, they show out.
DK Metcalf has been a wagon for anytime touchdowns this year. And he'll only have like 4 catches, but it'll be like 4 catches, 105 yards, and like an 80-yard touchdown catch.
Yeah.
And it is like, what is going on? And that leads me perfectly into our player prop picks. Because
player props, baby. Give it to us.
First one, DK. You could do this as a same game, and I feel pretty dang good about it. David Montgomery anytime. I didn't have the lines yet in terms of he didn't have odds because it was so early when I picked these. But D-Mon anytime, we've seen what he's done already this year. They love to give it to him in the red zone. He's an absolute workhorse. Keep hammering it. I think the last time I saw it, he was like minus 165. So you might have to parlay him in with DK Metcalf to get some value. But I've been putting him in some like 3-leg TD parlays and hit this one this past weekend with Saquon, him, and Derrick Henry. And he's been a great little juicer if you want to get frisky and do a parlay. But I love D-Mon anytime. And I also love DK Metcalf anytime. I'm going to keep riding it, dude. He has just been – he's good for one big touchdown a game right now. And I'm totally
Detroit's been struggling a little bit. I mean,
yeah, they have.
You watch those games, sure. They're not winning by, a ton. So, I mean, I think that's a good – I mean, DK Metcalf can hold his own with the best of them. So,
100%.
When you're playing with a team that's not playing at their best, yeah, find the end zone.
My next one – this is one line I did have since it is the Thursday night game. Malik Neighbors over 67.5 receiving yards. He's averaging 88 through 3 games. We've seen what he's done. He's the only bright spot in that Giants locker room. That dude is an absolute freak.
I think is he wide receiver 1 right now?
He should be.
No. Is he?
Should be.
He might be.
Should be.
Over Justin Jefferson too. I think he might be number 1.
I think he is. But because but you know who was wide receiver 4 before this week 3 was Alec Pierce on the Indianapolis Colts. He's been playing well. But besides the point, yes, Neighbors is playing tomorrow night on Thursday Night Football. He's going to probably be covered by Trayvon Diggs of the Dallas Cowboys. I don't care. Neighbors is showing everyone why he was looked at potentially getting drafted, which he did not. But what everybody was saying, he should maybe be drafted before Marvin Harrison. Dude's a freak. Even with Daniel Jones throwing him the ball. That's my one worry is if Dallas's defense comes out swinging, which I think they might since they obviously got embarrassed last weekend against the Ravens. But either way, 7.5.
Not to interrupt, but that's a good, we talked about Malik Neighbors being, like I said, I would rather the Patriots draft him over Marvin Harrison and Drake May. And you talked about having him over Marvin Harrison. And it seems like that's a trend of all. The second best seems to be the best, right? You look at like Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, right?
Yeah.
You look at Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels. Look at Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors. And, it's like these second guys. And obviously, there's a ton of guys who went 1 who were crushing it. But sometimes you just see it. And I feel like the hype gets to the number 1 and the number 2 guys just kind of get to sit back and go off. So, but yeah, I love any bet with Malik Neighbors right now because he seems like he's just on fire. So.
Yeah. And he's obviously the number 1 option. I think the Giants will be playing from behind tomorrow night, and they're going to
imagine if he had a QB.
Yeah, he'd be just going nuclear. My next one, Nico Collins, anytime touchdown. He has regressed a little bit. Obviously, the Texans have been struggling. Talked to you about this yesterday. Of course, after the Vikings beat the Texans Sunday, they come out with that nice little niche stat about how the Texans are 0-4 all time against the Vikings. I would have known that because I would have hammered Sam Darnold anyway.
Something smells fishy.
Something smells fishy. And I think it's Nico Collins getting in the end zone. It smells very good to me.
My only worry about that one is, like we've talked about, I just don't know with Houston who's going to get the ball. They just have so many
Yeah,
options.
they have options for sure, but
And I
it's
think that probably helps with the odds, right, at the end of the day.
100%.
So you're just hoping you get the right game, but in the
Yeah.
right matchup. But
They're
that's what
also
makes it
playing the
tough for me.
Jags at home. Their secondary got absolutely pillaged against the Bills on Monday Night Football. I think it's time for Nico Collins to get back in the end zone. I think he had 2 touchdowns to start the year, and then last week did not obviously play well. Nobody on the Texans played well last week. I like Nico Collins to get into the box and score a touchdown. And then my final, call me a hater. I don't care. It's the truth. Anthony Richardson throw a pick. I bet it's dang near minus 200. They didn't have the line for it, but after what I saw last week and 2 picks in the fourth quarter, him to throw a pick seems like free money. And correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, dang it. I was going to say, it's just like Pat Mahomes throwing a pick on primetime. He loves throwing picks on primetime. But Anthony Richardson loves throwing picks whatever time of day it is. So give me Anthony Richardson to throw an interception to round out the player props for week 4.
That hurts, man, because he's still in my lineup.
I know.
I hope not. But, after throwing 6 already, I can't really sit here and argue it. So we will see what happens. But those are some good bets. Throw your money down. Willie P, he's been known to make some cash. So make sure you get that money down and so you have a little bit something to root for. Even in a game, it's just like fantasy and betting. Get yourself something to root for, even in a game that doesn't matter otherwise to you. And that is our episode for week 4. That is a lot of information, real fast. If you want more information, even more, join our newsletter, which comes out Thursday mornings and has even more bets from Willie P, as well as injury information and articles from our site. Make sure you check out our site, thepredictors.com, for even more football information, as well as NBA and all of our socials, especially Twitter. Follow us there and follow us at the Predictors Medical for injury information so you know who's hurt and what it looks like when they come back and the stats behind it. We will see you next week on the Frisky Risky Fantasy Embedding podcast. Thanks for listening.